Hi, how we doing? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dual Dynasty, your weekly WWE review show here on the BC WrestlePod podcasting, Twitch, YouTube network conglomeration syndicate thing we do on the internet ever so often.
Every so often. That's the
ever
new.
so often.
Let's be real, multiple times a week, but every so often.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines is the weekly, not so weekly show.
The weekly, not so weekly show. Oh my goodness. Listen, I'm going to be completely upfront with all of you watching us today or later down the line. We are going to have some fun in the sense of making fun of this week's WWE. Listen, WWE was rough this week. Like,
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
My work schedule's weird for people who know. So I was just seeing the text messages in our group chat, being like, "Man, this shit's weird." I'm like, "All right, so it looks like I'm not watching nothing."
Yeah.
But the positive is that we do get to make our predictions for Elimination Chamber, which is happening this Saturday. Listen, these next 2 weeks are going to be crazy. We have Elimination Chamber, and then the following week, we have a watch-along for AEW Revolution, which is getting crazy also as well. Like, the spring is here, and as you know, spring in wrestling.
Yeah.
Be prepared.
So we try not to invoke other promotions here. We try to keep it as siloed and as organized as we can. But it seems like I'll say this once and then we can keep going. There seems like there's always 5 or 6 weeks where everyone just craps on AEW, and then for 2 weeks it flips, and AEW is perfect and WWE goes down a little bit, and then the cycle repeats itself. So there's sort of this 4-2, and we're right in the middle of that 2 week. Like, AEW's kind of killed it since Grand Slam, and then Collisions was great, which I was being told to go watch that, and Dynamite was really solid, and then we got this sort of, where the hell are we going with WWE Creative? And
to my point, I know it's not on my thing normally this time, but Ring of Honor was still back because for some reason Chris Jericho was still their champion.
Oh gosh!
Oh my gosh!
I saw somebody say, somebody goes, Chris Jericho's retaining the Ring of Honor World Championship. Who should you throw him? Somebody's top comment was retirement.
Listen, the crowd. Listen, I mean, I'll just say this now before we get into our WWE review, because we got a lot to do, because we're doing Raw, SmackDown, and predictions or Elimination Chamber.
We really have a lot to do. We're gonna be like, "Hey, SmackDown sucked. All right, Elimination Chamber."
That's very fair. We still gotta talk about it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, the crowd telling Jericho he needs to retire when he comes out for his entrance on Collision during that main event. Fantastic. Love you, crowd. You're great.
Well, because he genuinely
good job, Arizona. I'm proud of you.
He genuinely thinks it's because of the way he is in the ring, not who he is as a person. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're just so...
Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona, I was proud of you last night.
Well, I mean, to be fair, until recently, it was like, okay, maybe he's not that kind of, shitty person. Then we learned a bunch of stuff about him. We went, never mind.
SmackDown was so good, we're talking about Chris Jericho.
So let's just get into it. You already know the drill. Follow us on the socials, cop some merch in the link in the description below. Let's get through Raw and SmackDown so we can go to Elimination Chamber and talk about it. So we are covering a Monday Night Raw from February 17th. And we open things up with Mr. Underdog himself, Sami Zayn, to come out and cut a promo. So in this promo, and Kevin Owens, we'll talk about you in SmackDown, because now we have gone to illegal levels of wild. Like, this is getting out of hand. So
I mean, it's reminiscent of an old Triple H Randy Orton.
I was gonna say, but Sami Zayn comes out to cut a promo. He answers Kevin Owens' promo from SmackDown last week, about going to Toronto to face him. But Sami just doesn't want to go there to talk. No, they are destined to do this forever. His words, not mine. So Sami wants a match with Kevin Owens, and he doesn't just want to fight him. He wants to end him in this craziness. Sami wants to destroy Kevin and hurt him really bad, which causes Adam Pearce to come out and tell Sami there is absolutely no way that I, the general manager of Raw, and, WWE in general will not let this match happen. So the answer is no. Sammy walks up the ramp, stops at him, gets in his face, tells him that I want this. You know, you want this. This crowd wants this. Give me what I want. And Adam Pearce is like, okay, I'm going to give you the match, but whatever happens, myself, Raw, WWE is not responsible or liable for what is about to go down. And so it is officially made that it is Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn in an unsanctioned match. So I'm just like, I wonder if they're going to bleed is my question. That's the first thing. I was like, will WWE let them bleed?
What was I know we tied it in the group chat and somebody else made a list of this. There's a weird history of unsanctioned matches, right? Like go ahead.
I had asked about that because I was trying to figure out when the last one was, and I believe it was the NXT one in 23.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was the
Me
answer.
and Minnie were at that live. Grayson Waller and Johnny Gargano. That was the last WWE anywhere across the three brands unsanctioned match.
Interesting. That's the last. So it doesn't. Is this new? I feel like I've heard this before, but maybe not. It's not a 90s thing. I don't remember from when I was watching a lot.
I think NXT is the one that kind of made it a thing before. Yeah, I think this is the first main roster unsanctioned match.
Interesting. Because they've done exposition matches. I remember Ken Shamrock just destroying that one jobber guy that one time. And then there was a few other small, when MMA was really peaking that 2000, 2001 time, Dan Severn and some other folks. They were doing stuff like that, but never this unsanctioned. It was just, no holds barred or whatever else thing. I don't know. I don't hate it. It's also kind of funny if it's it's unsanctioned, but we're still going to air it. As opposed to unsanctioned boxing, which is illegal. Like, there's a whole thing to that.
I mean, I'm excited because literally WWE is basically giving us the Kevin Steen, El Generico road to ROH Final Battle 2010, in which we kind of did the same thing where these two went to go kill each other. My only trepidation with this unsanctioned match is because this is WWE and, bleeding is not necessarily a thing in this current era because it's not great for the whole sponsorship and things like that. I'm like, even if we don't get blood, please let these two kill each other because I was already disappointed with the ladder match at Rumble. Don't make this another disappointment. Which also brings up the question, how come NXT, technically your developmental brand, gives me better stipulation matches than main roster? Y'all get it together.
Well, it's because the man who used to be in charge of things didn't like change too much, or like to put people on polls.
Yeah. They've been invoking his name in such ways too, like the guy who used to be in charge. I've heard that in a few interviews the last 2 weeks or so. I don't know. I don't hate this. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a blood and gore fest, but if you're going to do something for spectacle, like we said, you got AEW over there doing crazy things, guys getting wrapped in barbed wire and can't move, or et cetera, right? So it depends on your market, depends on who this is for. WWE's family-friendly image for the last 20 years, I'm not saying it's held them back. It's kind of given them the Disney of wrestling type of feel, right? Like what's at stake? And then you go over to GCW and see the exact opposite. So I don't know. Let's see where they let him go.
Oof, it's gonna get crazy. So again, I'm still excited for this. Just let Sammy and Kevin kill each other. WWE, just let it happen, please. Thank you.
Yes, let them kill each other and then retire and then be done with it. I'm tired of seeing Sammy and KO. Honestly,
I agree. I'm not saying I'm tired of it. I mean, I'll watch it every time because I like them. But I feel like it's the two of them going against each other because creative doesn't know how to push them any other way, right? Like
exactly.
But this is a reasonable kind of fight comparatively to he teamed back up with Roman Reigns. So KO is like, fuck you. We spent 2 years trying to take this motherfucker down. He immediately went back and teamed up with them. What the fuck is wrong with you? Kind of thing.
I mean, maybe, but then
so
don't gaslight me with all the other stuff.
Right, you're right, but at the same time, it's Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens have been fighting each other for 15 years now.
Oh, probably their whole lives, right? They've known each other forever.
Yeah,
they are so comfortable with each other that we could cut promos in front of actual people's houses and show children on television, which we'll get to when we get to SmackDown. Because that was my whole thing. I'm like, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like, oof, we'll talk about that. Because listen, y'all know what I do for a living. There is such a fine line when it comes to posting images of children online in any capacity. So we'll get there when we get there. But let's get into our first match of Raw, which I actually thought, you know what? This wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. We have AJ Styles versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio. This was actually a really I thought this was a fun match. Of course, I figure AJ was going to win. You can't have him lose and coming back from injury, all that good stuff. Dominic out here always wrestling like people upon their returns. AJ, Randy, all these people. I was like, dang, they must trust Dominic to get the reps in. So, I mean, I have nothing else to say. I thought this was a fun match. Happy AJ won, but this is what we need to talk about. First of all, that shirt catch AJ was clean AF.
That was as clean as the freaking Randy Orton snatch. Not Randy Orton. The
Roman Reigns,
Roman
the Mike
Reigns,
snatch.
the Mike snatch.
Yeah.
The no look Mike snatch. Just yoink.
So we're teasing this again. WWE.
So I didn't watch Raw. I'm pulling it up now so I could look at some of the things that we're talking about. I saw this clip appear on the Instagram and didn't get it. I was like, oh, there's a promo where he threw a shirt to him. I had to watch it 2 or 3 times to realize what I had just seen. It was
like no look, just catch. It was great. Okay, I said this last week, and unless WWE gives it to me at Mania, I'm sick and tired of Braun just beefing with everyone right now. So give me my ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. And hopefully my theory will be proven more correct depending on what happens on Monday Night Raw tomorrow, because we have a triple threat with Ludwig Kaiser, Penta, and Pete Dunne. So if Braun makes his presence known in that match, then give me my ladder match for the IC title, because you have like 4 or 5 dudes who Braun is beefing with right now. If not, what are we doing? There are too many people in this mid card, and we're not doing anything with Braun right now.
Who is he not beefing with?
Hear me out.
That's
a
true.
third Elimination Chamber match for the IC title.
I remember the 2010 one. That one was awful. Anyways. Ooh. There was a time period where we had mid-card titles be defended in the chamber, and those I try to purge it from my memory. So
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to be mean, but AJ looks really white compared to Braun in this. Like, he is way white balanced, and Braun is way Caribbean. Like, not even close.
He's very reddish bronze.
Yeah,
Bronze Breaker. I mean, that's what we called him when he was in NXT. Me, Will, and Andrew.
yeah.
It's like,
but he doesn't look. He doesn't look like beautiful Greek, Sicilian, Islander, Mediterranean. He looks like skin cancer. Like, it's not good when I see the two of them close.
Braun is one shade away from being old college Braun Breaker getting caught in blackface. Like, listen, I love Braun, but I have told him through this review on many occasions, we need to hire somebody different for your bronze, or let your girlfriend, Izzy Dame, help you with that. It was Cora Jade before, but now it's Izzy. So let her help you.
Oh, man. Yeah, anyway. I mean, that Goldberg tattoo, that has lasted the test of time.
Yes, it has. I just need something substantial with this Intercontinental Championship picture. And I'm also going to talk about that with our Women's Intercontinental Championship scene too, when we get there for it. But clean catch, AJ. Hopefully we develop something for WrestleMania. We have like 10 weeks until Mania now, which is crazy. So we'll see what happens with all of this. Oh, speaking of Intercontinental Championships, this was a #1 contenders match. And, you know, I was not upset. I was like, I love me some Dakota Kai. We've been featuring Ivy Nile. Internet, don't come for me. Ivy should have won this. I love Dakota, but Ivy should have won this, especially since her and Lyra have been beefing for the last couple of weeks. Why are you going to let Dakota fight Lyra when we have a feud that you've been building with Lyra and Ivy? What is happening right now?
Because they want to save Ivy in that one for Mania.
I guess, but then don't have them beef on screen and backstage segments right now.
I honestly am there with you because I obviously I'm kind of like against the whole American Made. Now, Honey Mustard Sister here did an amazing job, and I absolutely love this match. This was actually one of my favorite matches of the entire week because it was a lot of action. There was a lot of good spots. I was conflicted because I didn't want American Made to win because that's where you're supposed to, where they want you to feel. But also, I really wanted Ivy to win because it seemed like she really worked hard to do this, and then Dakota just felt a little out of place.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why you would have a number one contenders match because Dakota technically was the finalist in the initial tournament. But again, on screen, you have been building this, arguments and backstage fights with Lyra and Ivy. And for Ivy not to win here, it kind of sucks. Now, to your point, Minnie, if we do get Lyra and Ivy at WrestleMania, it could be a lot of fun. Big thing for both women. But then if Dakota doesn't win this title, then why do we have her here? Like, why let her win, be number one contender, only for her to lose again to Lyra? And
So
she's
we
not
can
even
defend the title because the title's not being defended.
I mean, we didn't talk about this last week, but the hashtag WWE women deserve better. And I'm just like, I think there's a lot. I think now we're starting to be like, oh crap, we should probably start figuring out more stuff for the women. So I'm like, no, duh. The fact that Shawn Michaels is able to have like over 50% of NXT be women's segments and matches, like, I don't know what Hunter is doing. And no, you don't get to be called Triple H until you fix this. So Hunter, what are we doing? Hunter, what are we doing? That's how mad I am. He doesn't get to be called Triple H. He's Hunter for right now.
Just call him Paul. Get him really mad.
Oh, Mr. Paul Levesque, what
Paul,
are we doing?
you listen to me.
Look wrong, Paul. Because if we all remember the acceptance or the entrance speech for the Hall of Fame last year with Paul Heyman, Stephanie married the wrong Paul.
Good joke.
I love to see it. So Dakota is number one contender. We get that championship match tomorrow night on Raw, so it's going to be fairly interesting to see what happens with all of that. But I agree with Kilt. This was probably a really good match. This is probably my favorite of Raw from this past week. So let's move on to our next thing. So yeah, Dakota wins. I love Dakota, but Ivy should have won. This was so awkward, but like for some reason I kind of dig it. So Gunther comes in and does the whole Jey Uso entrance.
Sorry, Mikey. I didn't mean
to
talk
go ahead.
over
This was awkward.
This segment looks like it. I'm looking at this for the first time. This segment looks hell long.
It was long. It was so unnecessarily long.
I'm skipping along on my phone, and all of a sudden I was like, hey, we're still here? We're still here? Sorry.
So I get why Gunther does this. So okay, so let me give the platform and then we'll dive in. So Gunther does the Jey Uso entrance, mocking Jey because these two are about to fight at Mania in 10 weeks. Then Gunther gets into the ring. He continues to tell us why Jay's not going to win. Jey ends up on the ramp. The security holds him back for a little bit. And then, they proceed to fight. So that's what we're doing. So brawl. It's basically the same thing we got last week and the week before. So I'm really worried that WWE doesn't know how to carry this feud into Mania for the next 10 weeks. I'm scared. I mean, I'm excited for the match at Mania, but damn.
Yeah, I think the match would be cool. They didn't plug any stories really into this other than a loss here and a fight there, right? So they got 10 weeks to keep us interested. Unless it's Gunther peering into Jay's house. Like, I don't know. What weird stuff are they going to do?
We don't need everybody appearing at everyone's houses. Because, look, last time... So, outside of Kevin Owens invading Sammy's house this week, the last time we saw someone come to someone's house resulted in someone kind of getting arrested. lo and behold, AJ and LA Knight
Yeah, faux arrested. Yeah, I mean,
arrested. Also, we were so focused on AJ. I was like, sir, are we on the juice? Like, he was absolutely ripped for no reason. But yeah, so I'm really worried that WWE is not going to figure out a way to carry us for the next 10 weeks to, tell a story here. I'm still excited for the match, and I'm holding out hope that it does get better. But we had 3 pull-apart brawls in the last 3 weeks between these two. I need something else to keep me invested in the story aspect of this. I could say the same thing for Miss Tiffany and Charlotte, but, we'll get there when we talk about SmackDown. Oof. I'm gonna wait. You know what? I was gonna say something. I'm gonna wait till we get to Charlotte and Tiffany because I have a thought. I want WWE to change what happens in, our champions picking who they're gonna face at Mania. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we get to SmackDown. This is actually a pretty decent banger, though I do feel it did take them like the first couple of minutes to kind of get on the same page and find that chemistry. And then when they did, this was great. And then, Ludwig Kaiser made an appearance too to distract Pete Dunne to allow Penta for the win, which now leads into our triple threat for tomorrow. I have no notes.
Nice. No notes.
I love Penta. He is the new shiny toy for WWE right now.
Yeah.
So
if Penta can keep getting reps in and get folks up to his speed so he doesn't have to do less, then he's going to start being great. I still want to see him do more crazy rope stuff, but I think he's waiting for more people to get used to what he does, but I think it's going to work out.
Oh, absolutely. Also, shout out to Penta, who, has been wrestling with a whacked up bicep, as we learned on the Sheamus Celtic workout series.
Yeah, what was this about?
So Penta technically needs surgery on his bicep, but he hasn't gotten it in like 3 years, and he doesn't know if he's going to, because bicep repairs take forever to heal. And of course, luchadors don't want to be out of the action for long. So,
wow.
I mean, it's functional. It just looks really weird. Also, that video with Sheamus also proved we need a hype man like Penta in our lives. Seriously.
Yeah.
And also, I need Sheamus to now be formerly known as Sheamus. As Penta calls him.
Show me Sheamus. I love that. That was like, as soon as I saw that, I had to send it to you because I'm like, holy crap. I've known a lot of UFC guys. Actually, I knew Jason David Frank a long time ago.
Really? Rest in peace. Really?
He had ripped his, I think it was his bicep or his tricep.
Okay.
Either before a match or after a match. And the next weekend he was at an event that I was working security for, so he's walking around in a sling. And that took forever for him to heal. Wow. So I understand Penta's mentality when it comes to that, but it's also, that shit's expensive.
Jason David Frank was a real one. That's cool. You got to meet him.
I worked with him and many other celebrities and different people over the years because of all the security convention stuff I've done. Yeah. Almost got ran over by Stan Lee. Yeah, that was fun.
Kilt has so many stories.
Let's save that for SmackDown when we run out of shit to talk about.
For real.
Exactly. But I just don't like Pete Dunne. He looks so weird. He sounds so weird. We'll get into this when we get to our boards because I had a trouble with him because I wanted to put him on the board, but I chose not to. Because he's not great on the mic. He's okay in the ring, but he's not great on the mic. And it's just, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Stay tuned for that podcast episode later this evening. But again, Ludwig Kaiser comes out. We're getting a triple threat. Something tells me Braun's going to interfere in that match tomorrow night. Give me my ladder match, please. That's all I want. Or even a fatal four-way, This WrestleMania smells of we're going to need to try to get everybody on this card, so we'll see what happens.
Well, they always have a showcase match, so.
Yeah, that's also very true. And if it is a showcase, unnerf Pete Dunne and let him actually look like he's breaking fingers and bones out here. So this was kind of a banger too, but this was also kind of roped in with what happens in the middle of this. So this is the final Women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match, we have Raquel Gonzalez taking on NXT's Roxanne Perez. So I thought this match was pretty decent. Of course, the true standout, though, is for those of us that grew up in the 2000s, I immediately clocked these outfits. I was like, yes, bring it on. Let's go. By the way, Bianca and Naomi, you look good, girls. I love this choice. But this provided the distraction because these two went after Liv, which distracted Raquel, which allowed Roxanne to win. And Roxanne is your final woman in the Elimination Chamber. And I'm pretty sure we're setting up a tag team championship match tomorrow night, I believe, if I read it correctly, between Naomi and Bianca versus Liv and Raquel, especially what happened on SmackDown. Ladies, you deserved more. Stupid Rock cutting Naomi and Liv's match on SmackDown. How dare he? Anyways, that's all I have to say. Moving on. I like his
day sucks. New day sucks.
The Boo Day.
I love that everybody hates New Day. New Day's figured out how to do this.
And I love that for them. I love this new heel New Day until we figured out that it's going to be them versus LWO for the 50th million time. Right. I'm like, gosh darn it, WWE. Why?
Kofi has a much better poker face than Austin, right?
That's true.
Because Austin always looks like he's just about to bust into laughter, no matter what. He's always has his eyebrows up, like, I'm not trying to laugh. Like at any moment, he's just gonna break.
Yeah. So New Day tried to speak. Crowd doesn't let them. They talk about attacking Rey Mysterio last week, which then props, LWO, the faction that Raw and WWE forget they have. And it's not even 100% Mexican out here because one of them's not even Latino, which is crazy to me.
Wait, who?
The guy in the hat, Joaquin Wild, is not. He is Filipino. He is not Mexicano.
Yeah, he probably knows more Spanish than the rest than me anyway. But all right,
listen, I'm just telling you, Professor. Just spend 1 or 2 weeks with me in Ensenada. We'll teach you real quick.
Man, I feel like I know all the words. That's interesting though. I don't know.
I am not interested in this feud. I'm like, we've seen this already like 50 million times. Now, I'm excited to see Dragon Lee and everybody else get back in the ring and New Day actually fight more people, but I'm tired of this feud. I don't want this Lena Vega girl. You got out of this. You are now on SmackDown, which we'll talk about you in a little bit, but I don't really care about this feud. I don't want it. This was, I was very sad with this part. Dare I say, I feel like this is Finn Balor's best match on television in what seems to be years. My God, this felt like a pay-per-view match. Though I will say, the ref, you fucked it up. The momentum, this almost was my match of the night, but the ref and the not kicking out part, I was like, damn it, you guys.
Oh, did they miss a kick out in here?
Yeah, the crowd booed. We had to wait for 10, 15 seconds. Seth was mad at the ref. I was just like, oh my God, you guys, come on.
Wait, they didn't kick out or the ref didn't?
It was a little bit of both. It looked like Finn forgot to kick out, but the ref also notably stalled because he was waiting for the kick out. And then the kick out happened. The crowd was booing. Seth got mad.
I think there was
you
just
chew him out after that. Yeah.
I think there was a little miscommunication somewhere within that match for that to happen. But
this is where they're going crazy. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah.
I was had that not happened, this would have been my match of the night.
Yeah, this is probably, out of all the matches besides the Honey Mustard Sister match, this is probably the best match of the week because literally this was a PLE or a pay-per-view, or this was a match you really put on a special program because it was just intense. It was back and forth, pin after pin after pin after special move to special move, and it just was insane.
These
Yeah,
two put on a
they're
hell of
two
a
fucking
performance.
insanely talented wrestlers. Some of the best probably in the in WWE's roster.
That is very true. And again, minus that miscommunication, this was definitely in my top 2 of this week's Raw. Seth does win, and he is the final men.
Netflix edited it.
Oh, dang it.
Netflix edited it out.
Of course they did.
The boos are still here. Seth getting mad is still here, but it cuts, and then it cuts away to Seth going to the ropes after it. They pulled
Wow,
it.
that's
And then,
crazy.
and they're all still booing, and that crowd is angry, and Seth's arguing. Ooh. Shame.
That's wild to me. But again, Seth does pick up the victory. He is the final participant in the men's elimination chamber match. So that brings us to the end of Monday Night Raw. Overall, I think there was still some fun stuff. But now, man.
Can we talk about like the thing we need to talk about and then move on, or should we just glance over this? Or I don't know.
You know what? Let's talk about it. If it prevents us from talking about SmackDown for like 2 minutes or so, let's do it.
Well, I'm just saying the matches could have been better. It looks like they were all kind of heady. Fine. I didn't mind how it ended. I actually liked the tag match at the end. I thought that was actually kind of cool. I had no problem seeing Damian and Braun in there. That two just man meat doing man meat things. That was fine. The 2 things that are obviously standouts. Well, the 3 things, right? Is the Kevin Owens I'm stalking you promo, the Charlotte Flair I don't want to be here promo, and the miscommunication leading up to that, and The Rock, who is now Shansun stealing souls just because he can. Like, those are the 3 standout things.
Yeah.
But like we said, if this had been 2 years ago, we wouldn't have reviewed it. We would have skipped a week and talked about, hey, we missed last week because it was 2 out of 10.
I know. But as wrestling reviewers, we must do our due diligence. We don't have to spend too much time on certain things.
Dang. All right.
And then we can go and talk about Elimination Chamber.
I mean, you have slides. We should look at all the slides. Yeah.
Yeah. I worked hard on these slides. So
I know.
even though this, I thought to myself, I was like, do I really want to put effort into the SmackDown slides? Yeah, I kind of have to. Anyway, so we kick things off because The Rock was here at SmackDown. Cody gets taken out of the 6-man, so it's no longer going to be a 6-man, which we'll get to see that slide in a little bit. It becomes a tag team match, which we'll talk about later. And the reason why is because The Rock needs to see Cody in the ring later in the evening. I'm like, here we go. We pulling from GTA San Andreas. Shit, here we go again. I'm like, all right, we're starting with this mess. Let's just get through it. I forgot this match happened when I was doing the slides. I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot this is a thing. And I didn't hate the match. I like watching Drew McIntyre lose his absolute mind at the end and beat it up on Jimmy. I was like, there we go. Give me the Scottish psychopath once again. But this match did not help because of everything else that went down later on in the show. I'm like, damn, you guys, this was actually not that bad.
It's a shame it got overshadowed. It was pretty solid.
I know. Yeah, because this match was actually pretty fun. And Jimmy pulling the surprise victory by beating Drew McIntyre, which is crazy. But then, of course, Jimmy gets his whoopings from Drew after the match. So gets Claymore twice. It's crazy to watch. I don't know. Like, this is levels of will they, won't they? We know they gonna turn on each other, and poor Tama Tonga looking like a child of divorce in the middle. Like, what is happening?
Just kiss. That's literally what it is. Just kiss and make up. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Jacob Fatu has been stronger than this, so this angle doesn't really work the way I think they think it does. It's tough to watch.
Yeah. I will say, though, Solo Sikoa, I do like the jacket. I like the color. It looks nice.
He's back to Temu Weekend.
Yes.
It's better than the white.
That is very true. Oof. It's crazy. Dare I say, Mello Don't Miz might be a fun short-term tag team story. Yes, that is their tag team name, Mello Don't Miz.
No, I guess I made this joke as well when they cut the promo last week, and I'm like, I it's so ego heavy, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I like this or not. But my favorite part of this match was R-Truth counting his own tap out and Carmelo still kicking out.
When we get to the match, we'll talk
That was
about that
brilliant.
because it was amazing. R-Truth continues to be a national treasure.
The
Love
only
him.
good part about SmackDown this week.
I know Carmelo isn't considered a comedic character, but I would put him in that same rank as these types of. I mean, having R-Truth, Miz, and him together is gold. That's
Right?
brilliant.
It actually kind of works. I was like, you know what? This actually wasn't too bad. And I'm here for a short-term Miz and Mello tag team for a little bit. That might be fun to do. Because but again, as Kilt said, they're both ego central. I am excited for these two to eventually fight each other. Because I also think that could be a potentially fun match. So R-Truth's looking for a partner. He doesn't get one. He's going to call on a local Louisiana legend, which we'll talk about later. Yo, this promo from Zelina kind of slapped though. I was like, this is the Zelina I need to see. Very neon cyberpunk.
Sure. We haven't seen her for a while, yeah.
For reals. Give me a Zelina Vega singles push. The one that she deserves. I'm still mad that when she won Queen in the Ring and we all watched her unused promo as Queen Zelina. I was like, why? So hopefully SmackDown will do her better. And I'm like, she got the heck out of Dodge. Girl, you got lucky because you would have been stuck with the LWO boys over on Raw fighting New Day for the 20th time. So this was a fun promo. This is the aforementioned R-Truth Louisiana native turns out to be LA Knight because LA is the abbreviation for Louisiana. So this tag match was hilarious.
It's a good joke, yeah.
But Shinsuke would ultimately take out LA Knight, which would allow R-Truth to get pinned, and Mellow Dope Miz picks up the victory here. I feel so sad for Shinsuke. WWE has proven me right once again that they don't know what to do with him in championship reigns. And he has a cool-ass character. How can you mess up Sith Lord Shinsuke Nakamura? Anyways.
They don't want to take the risk of making him that Japanese anime villain like we saw, right?
Well,
for some reason they just pulled away from that, which was dumb.
But remember, this is the Disney of wrestling, and we saw what Disney did to Star Wars. So of course, they're going to mess up Sith Lord Shinsuke Nakamura.
I mean, the joke writes itself. I don't think you're wrong. I think they're nervous about his promo skills. And there's just things that they don't like, which is a shame. So they just let him lurk in the shadows. I think that's just doing him a disservice. That's tough.
Justice for Shinsuke. Anyways. Oh my God, this was rough. I cannot save this. I love all these women, but I can't in good conscience as a wrestling reviewers. This, Professor, you mentioned this off camera. This was tough.
Yeah, the whole intro of this. It's like, that's a good call.
I'm just saying, because there's another certain big Japanese name in MLW right now. Shinsuke versus Kenta would go slap. Like
amazing.
Anyways.
I mean, that's actually not a terrible thought, right? He's made his impact. He knows what he's done. He doesn't need to be here. We know who you are. That's a good call. I was saying this before we started. It just felt like they were supposed to start a certain way. And now that it's a 3-hour show, there's a whole like, oh, we need to fill here. We need to fill there. The promo felt off. And I might go full conspiracy. It sounded like they were waiting for Charlotte to enter during this promo. And they just stood there and did nothing. And there's like 2 or 3 dips here where they're just waiting for music to start. That never happens. I could be crazy. That's just what it looked like to me. And then all of a sudden we come back from commercial. The match has started. And then Charlotte Flair walks in, not caring. Like, doesn't even do Charlotte Flair things. Just sort of pops her hip and walks on down. And then gets to the commentary table and doesn't say anything for the whole match. Just kind of doesn't. So
she literally said like 3 words, said, hi, how you doing? I'm here. And then it gives off the I'm only here so I don't get fined.
A little bit, yeah. And then she's the one, I don't want to say dumb thing. The one not great thing she said was sort of like, yeah, she learned one move while Tiffany's doing like backflips and crazy things. And I was like, no, she's got like, so it didn't quite come off.
Okay, so here's the thing. Have I missed Charlotte Flair? I do a little bit because, it's been almost 2 years. But again, whether it's her own choice, whether creative's telling her to do this, if it's a mixture of both, Charlotte always does this by burying her opponent. And for this one, I'm like, come on, Charlotte Flair, like hold the phone. I was like, Tiffany's been putting in the work for the last 3 or 4 years. And I can say that because I've been following her since she debuted in NXT.
Yeah. And she's in trying to bury her in this type of way is not coming off the way that I think they think it is. And she's just, she has it's not coming off fiery. She just seems disinterested. And again, it just feeds more of the back room. Charlotte Flair shows up and gets to the front of the line drama that we've been hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And then going out and mailing it in like this, not a great look.
No. So this does lead into Tiffany and Candice, which I thought was actually a pretty good match. Tiffany does end up picking up the win here, but then Nia and Candice beat her up. Trish Stratus comes out and tries to do the save. And this image describes how I felt about this whole entire segment.
Let me just sit down real quick.
But doesn't. Just kind of taps him and then jumps off. Like, doesn't.
Yeah, because Trish Stratus is like 54 years old.
That's fair. I mean, I get it, but
she can still go, lest we forget that cage match with her and Becky last year was phenomenal.
Still really good. I think that was my women's match of the year, I believe. Or not you. That was we'll talk about that.
It was one of them for sure.
Fine. I mean, the match itself was okay, solid, not fun to watch, except for everything around it. Happy to see Trish. We can move on.
Yeah, I'm like, oof. There's some gleaming points here. SmackDown's kind of is a little bit rough to this episode, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to continue to hold out hope. Again, these two look great. I love it. This promo was probably the best thing for me this whole episode. God, I miss Alexa Bliss on the mic. Or even if it's pre-taped, I miss her promos, and I'm so happy we got them back now.
Also, we didn't talk about it. Tiffany Stratus missing that backflip and almost killing everybody.
That was crazy.
That could have been bad. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so really quickly, again, Naomi and Bianca are here because they want Liv and Raquel. Alexa Bliss cuts my favorite thing of this whole episode. Yes, I was like, when we get to predictions, I was like, we shall see. Again, instead of getting Liv and Naomi one-on-one like it was originally scheduled, we just get a brief Raquel and Liv attacking them, and then they get laid out. I was like, fine. I still would have preferred a match, but whatever. And I blame that on Mr. Maivia over here. Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Lord have mercy. As soon as I saw this on Thursday that Rock was coming back, I'm like, oh man, he about to be on his bullshit again. I don't think he was this time, but at least he wasn't drunk like when he was on NXT. Holy shit, that man was like buzzed on NXT when he did his promo. That was wild to watch. And I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, yesterday about this, and I'm just like, he brought up something excellent. Because it's The Rock, he can do whatever he wants, curse up a storm, get censored. But any other wrestler on this roster does it, they about to be fined, or we won't see them on TV for like a couple of weeks. But Final Boss returns. The first thing that we are told is that WrestleMania 2026 will be taking place in New Orleans on April 15th and 16th, I believe is the date. So cool. Love that. Definitely excited.
12th. It's right there on the screen.
Oh, sorry. I can't see even with glasses. Anyways, this how mad I am about this whole segment. This promo happened. We can dissect it in a little bit, but this next shot is my face the entire segment. Well, actually, no. First it was this as soon as it started, and then this was me for the rest of the whole entire thing. This was me the entire time of this promo that I did not care about.
I want your soul.
I want your soul, brother. I thought if they had picked a direction, I think this could have worked, right? If this was all I want you to join, I want you to work for me because I'm the boss, great. If this had been I want you to join me because you're my brother, fine. They kind of tried to marry the two, and it's odd. There's a lot of folks talking about that The Rock does these promos that he sort of flips from heel face, heel face, heel face. The Rock's always done that, though. That's The Rock's every promo going back to when he started was sort of,
Which is fine, but pick a lane and stick with it.
But invest in one, right? That's
Yeah.
I agree. It's sort of like, are you here to be this guy, or are you here to be this guy? You could still have the wink at the audience. But yeah, I agree. It's sort of like, do you want them? I don't know. It's a little messy for sure. He's obviously just winging it because he's a billionaire now who's this. I was kind of saying this before. There was a time where I mentioned this before we started. This was the big he who shall not be named angle, right? I'm the boss. And then Stone Cold shows up and goes, I hate my boss. You hate your boss. Now we both hate our boss.
This is the third time we've seen this storyline, and we know that WWE loves to recycle storyline because, like you said, it was Stone Cold. Then it was the Authority versus Bryan Danielson, Bryan too.
Yeah.
And now it's Cody in this position of the unsung hero. So Rock gives him the ultimatum. He wants Cody to be there at Elimination Chamber and give his answer whether he's going to join The Rock at, and give his answer at Elimination Chamber. We'll talk about that during our predictions, but I was just like,
his soul.
Go, Kilt, go. Go, Kilt, go. Kilt has so many things.
Oh my God, this, because you reminded me of this, going back to billionaires, and it just popped in my head. This could be a great JBL style direction, but they're just, the writing is just bad. The promos is starting to become like nothing. He's probably playing like 16 different fucking movies in his head. Oh, I gotta prep for this, gotta do this, he's not focused, and it's so apparent. And he tries to go into his "you're a jabroni, I'm gonna rock bottom you" mentality. Like, you see it a couple times. Like, he yells at someone in the office, "I'll slap the syphilis off your lips," and I'm like, okay. Great, but can we focus, please? It's just so distracting. This should have been like an off-camera, like a pre-recorded conversation. This should have been something completely different and not take up time on letdown.
He was definitely amped up and had focus issues. Sure, I mean, it was all over the place. You could do a Ted DiBiase angle where it's sort of rich people, poor people stuff. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with this. I'm just not exactly sure what we're getting at here. I mean, this should have landed huge, and in the end, we landed, huh? What do you want his soul for? I don't know. It's hard. It's hard when, The Rock is the performer and on the board and calls these shots. You're this three-headed monster. What are you going to tell him? No, that's
it's really seeing the birth of Cody Lander, or
sadly, that's what I was going to ask everybody.
Steve Rhodes.
The only way this makes sense is if it's a Cody heel turn. That's the only way this works.
Again, because The Rock has, quote unquote, inserted himself into this build to Mania now, I feel that it's about to get to quote Tyler, the Creator, it's about to get sticky up in here, for reals. Because you are either building to a Cody heel turn, which is what we've wanted for so long. Because listen, I like Cody, but to me, he works better as a heel than a babyface champion. Heel champion Cody Rhodes could be really fun, but I don't know if WWE has the balls and the confidence to pull the trigger because Cody is so over with fans. And again, we're in the Disney era of WWE where it's super PG and we appeal to families now. Or the other thing you risk of is whoever walks out of that chamber is going to be the person that joins The Rock. And I don't like the idea of Cena or Punk turning heel. John Cena, I don't think would ever turn heel. It'd be crazy in his final run if he did. That would be more interesting. But I don't like Punk becoming a heel and selling his soul to get into WrestleMania only because of how anti-establishment that Punk has been and has been super vocal even when his last stint with WWE. And plus, I don't think Punk is destined to fight Cody right now because I think we're putting Punk with Roman and Seth. But, you know, plans could change. I don't know.
Again, they've written themselves into a corner. I think the only answer is you heel turn Cody somehow. But then you're right. Like, who's face? Like, who comes for Cody and why? Like, that's just not gonna. And again, they make more money than me. I'm not saying they make better decisions, but there's, I don't know. I hate to say that I'm intrigued, but I'm intrigued. Not from I'm interested standpoint. I'm intrigued in, now what are you going to do?
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting for sure. I did not have enough time to watch the taste of what we previously saw with Rock and Cody. And also, you know, we talked a little bit before we started, and I have to agree with Kiltz here. We all knew that this was not going to end the way that it was going to. In a perfect world, Pretty Deadly get the surprise upset win, which would have been hilarious and amazing. But this is the real thing. We like Street Profits interfere, causes a no contest. Motor City Machine Guns come out to try to, you know, help everybody. They get beat down. On the one hand, I love seeing the Profits stand strong. This is what we've wanted from them for a long time. Now let's go to the next chapter. This is all I'm going to say. That's the downside is we got 2 weeks of promos. We get them interfering. Now let's put some legs to what inevitably is probably going to be a fatal 4-way at Mania. Or something. I don't know.
I hope not. Doing better than a fatal 4-way.
That's very true. Listen, if we do a tag
They
team,
want wrestlers on the fucking pro thing.
Here's the thing.
Like, but everybody wants 2 matches.
Here's the thing. If we're going to do all 4 teams at Mania, there are only 2 matches I think I would be okay with this many people. Have a tornado tag when anybody and everybody can just jump in because I love me some good control chaos. Or I know WWE doesn't like to do this often, but do a gauntlet match. Start out with 2 teams. One gets eliminated. The next team comes out. It is a gauntlet match. And then the final team standing is ultimately the winner. So technically with a gauntlet match, you could get 3 tag team championship matches. Like,
I don't really hate that. I think that's fun.
But those are the only 2 matches I think should, you know, apply for Mania. Just don't have a standard fatal 4-way tag team match. We're only 2 in. Either do tornado tag or gauntlet match. So Kevin Owens, we need to file a restraining order because, sir.
Yeah.
Also, I need somebody needs to tell me what Kevin Owens' insurance is like because we need to send it to a therapist. We need to see him to a psychologist. Like this
episode is not covered by his insurance.
This promo is not covered by his insurance. This is some Maury Povich, like Steve type of nonsense. So Kevin Owens is talking to his promo about how, you know, he's going to destroy Sammy. And he's like, but you know what, Sammy? I wonder what your family thinks. Pans over to his wife and child, which that's a red flag for me right now. I know that we got to do this, but holy crap. And then we see Sami Zayn. I'm like, oh my God, Kevin Owens, you are crazy. But this is my little soapbox moment for this episode. I am a proponent. It doesn't matter what medium, if it is, whether it's professional wrestling or anything. I have a hard time with children being presented on the screen like this because once that's on the internet, there are some weirdos out there. Not saying that that's what's going to lead to, but children should not, unless children under the age of 18 should not have faces shown on here. That's just a little nitpick. But this promo was wild. I was like, oh my God, now we're stalking Sami Zayn in his house.
The thing that gives me enough dissonance where I don't want to say okay with this, it was still kind of scary. That's not Sammy's house. That's a set. That's an Airbnb. There's no.
Oh, absolutely.
There's
Yeah, it's definitely
know.
because of the lighting that on
Oh,
freaking.
absolutely.
Yeah.
no. Come on, and like they're in an apartment building kind of thing. I'm not trying to diminish anything that you said either. I I know they're trying to get Kevin more and more unhinged. He's taking this more and more personal. At least he's not in his car anymore, so I get it. I don't dislike the idea. I think this just comes off a little stalkery and creepy, even when it was LA Knight, like kicking in doors
Just
and
a
going to
little
AJ's
bit?
house. Well, but in a different LA Knight going to the gated community and raising hell was one thing. This one, bearded fellow looking through your window, like that's a little. That's the wrong
This
message.
is Kevin Owens is giving me What We Do in the Shadows, but like on a whole nother level. Like,
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Sami Zayn's not wearing shoes. This is like he's comfortable. And he's like, I can see your toes.
that's what you're weirded about.
That's
About
weird.
it?
Yes!
You see
Man's
Sami
toes?
Zayn's toes.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a
everyone has their
saying in one of the communities, "I'm no free feet."
thing.
Hide the dogs, dude.
But it's so it is. It's odd. It's weird. It's creepy. I'm like, come on. The last time I saw something this extreme, so to speak, was when they did the bit where they ground up someone's chihuahua into fucking ground beef.
Oh
and
my
fed it to
god.
someone.
Who did
This is-
that?
This is back
Oh,
in the
that was-
80s.
No, this was 90s. 90s.
Oh, that's right,
early
90s.
2000s. I'll pull it up on. Give me like
Wasn't
5
there
Pull it
the
up.
Val Venus and the Yakuza where they were going to chop him up and turn him into a bunch of things?
No, this is a whole different thing because
No,
okay,
these are different things. That was just another thing that happened.
no, but the whole Chihuahua being grounded up in terms of storyline though led to that awful dog kennel match where we actually had the dogs like with handlers and all that.
Oh,
People were stepping in shit.
Yeah,
That's right. Oh my god.
because that little storyline and that thing and that kind of event setting off in the story led to that god awful match.
Wow.
See,
Yeah,
I
think it
know
was
my
Big
wrestling.
Boss Man.
Yep, there we go. That see, I know my wrestling history sometimes.
It's the infamous Kennel from Hell match in Unforgiven in '99, where they put the cage down and then they on the ring they put like a grid line around the so they basically make two cages for no reason.
And then there was
This is
actual
how good
dogs.
SmackDown was. We're talking about kennel matches from 1999.
See, the sad thing is this was my favorite part, but this is the only thing I truly liked.
Hold on, sorry, I had to continue. It was Al, a Big Boss Man fed Al Snow his dog.
Yep. It was like filmed in a
Wow.
hotel room. It was weird.
Wow.
The
Big Boss
90s
Man's
were
been
wild.
some really weird fucking stories, dude.
For reals. That's a whole topic too, where we could talk about weird storylines in wrestling.
And 9 of them will have the Big Boss Man involved.
For real.
Why him? The dude that showed up as a cop. Nah, he's gonna get hanged from a cage.
Huh. This is Stay tuned because that's gonna be our March episode.
Ah,
For reals. But no, so we get to the main event. So originally, before, as of Wednesday, when The Rock was not being announced for SmackDown, it was going to be a 3-on-3, which would have been fun. Rock got announced. Tama Tonga and Cody Rhodes get taken out of the match. So this now becomes a tag team match between Damian Priest and Braun Strowman versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fought 2. Towards the end of this, Jacob accidentally kicks Solo in the face and allows, Braun and Damian to pick up the win. Poor Damian, man. Like Braun, like we're trying. I'm happy he's on SmackDown, but I feel like he's lost a little bit of his shine. But hopefully the Chamber will give some of that back to him. Because after Chamber, I'm wondering where Damian's WrestleMania journey is going to go. So we'll see what happens with that. This match was fun. I liked it. This is how we ended SmackDown this week.
Woo.
This was a rough SmackDown.
Bread.
Cool. So, any final thoughts before we go into our last bit of the episode?
No.
When you have a promo segment so bad, you forget the rest of the matches. It was not a good SmackDown.
Cool.
Give me your
Alrighty.
soul.
Give me your soul. Gosh, that was bad. Alrighty. So we are not done quite yet because we are going to be doing our Elimination Chamber predictions next, but I'm going to change the venue a little bit. So enjoy this little dance break as I also send into our WWE group chat the forms, and we're going to do this live. So enjoy this little 10-second dance break.
Yeah. Here we go.
Cool. Now we're here.
So Professor's gone.
He magically disappeared. The beans
Checking
are
on the
calling him.
beans.
I was about to say.
Alrighty, so I am currently sending to our WWE group chat the form. So we're gonna go and do this live. Well, we gotta wait for the professor. So
Why?
I don't want to do this until he comes back. But we are going to end this week's Dual Dynasty review by going over the card for Elimination Chamber, and we are going to be making our predictions live as we go along. So, Elimination Chamber is this Saturday, March 1st. It is coming to us live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. For those of you in the United States, you can watch this pay-per-view on the Peacock at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard, because that is when the show starts. It's going to be a 4 p.m. pay-per-view. So this is going to be interesting. So we are going to go through. There are technically there's 3 official matches, 1 unsanctioned match, and even though we just talked about on SmackDown, we will briefly talk about, because there is a question on there that has to do with Cody and The Rock, because we know that's going to take up like 20 minutes of the pay-per-view, which is going to be to get through. But let us begin. So again, when we do our predictions, we talk about the matches in order. If I were booking the show, this is how I would put these matches and segments in order. I was very close with Vengeance Day in its final order. I just got 2 matches were switched out from their placements, but I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like WWE is bugging these podcasts. But let's begin. So let's talk about the Women's Elimination Chamber. So to remind everybody here and everyone at home, the Women's Elimination Chamber is for, the woman who wins the Elimination Chamber will go on to face Rhea Ripley for her championship at WrestleMania. So in this match, we have Roxanne Perez, Bayley, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Bianca Belair. So because Elimination Chambers can be truly unpredictable, for both the men and the women's matches, gentlemen, you will be allowed to pick 2 women who you think are going to walk out as the winner. I'm going to be honest. I feel like between the men's and the women's, for me personally, this one's a little bit more unpredictable, but also predictable, if that makes any sense, because I can make a case for any of these 6 women. But if I am going to pick my 2, I think that the winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber, my 2 picks are going to go to Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. I think those are my top 2 of walking out of the chamber and going on to face Rhea. I feel like Bianca versus Rhea is a solid match, and I think Alexa could be a fun wild card. If I had to pick a third, though, it would be Naomi, but those are my 2. So I'm picking Alexa and Bianca for this one. Minnie, I'm going to come to you next. Women's Elimination Chamber. Winner goes on to WrestleMania to face Rhea. Which 2 women are you picking for your predictions?
I went with Bayley and Alexa Bliss because Naomi and Bianca are certainly getting into a feud with Liv and Rodriguez. I feel like that feud will go into Mania for the tag belts. So I don't feel like they're going to be involved in the World Championship scene. Now, a dark horse, I want to almost pick Roxanne Perez. I feel like this is her main roster push. But I feel like they might want to fill her out in the main roster a little bit more before they do that. So I'm going to go with the established talents of Bayley, even though she main evented last year. I still feel like that's fine. And then, of course, they're returning Alexa Bliss. Everybody wants to see her do something.
Fair points. All right. So Professor, I'm going to call on you next because I always love watching you struggle to make your picks. Just kidding. I love you.
That's fine.
It's good content.
Because I know who I want to win. I would love to see Roxanne Perez win this thing and get the push and go to the main roster. But I agree. I don't think they're going to do it this. I don't want to say this soon, but this quickly from the Rumble. I think the Rumble. I think she'll have a strong showing. I think they'll make her look great. I do agree. I think Naomi, Bianca Belair are kind of going to feud, but I wonder if they're feuding over what happens in the chamber. I think that's interesting to me. I don't think they're going to run back Liv Morgan. I don't think we're doing that again because that would be, you would tune a lot of people out. I love Bayley, but I'm like, Bayley's had a handful of runs. Do they make this happen again? Although Rhea Ripley's a great match. I think Alexa Bliss is too easy. I think she's been out for 2.5 years and she's come back and then they go, you won the chamber, you're getting a shot. I don't hate it, but I don't know if they're going to push it that fast. I'm going to say Naomi. I'm going to go Naomi and Bayley.
Cool. I love
Bayley's
those picks.
Bayley's the safe hand. But if Naomi wins the chamber by screwing over Bianca, we see the turn here going.
That would be beautiful.
Ooh.
That would be fun for sure.
That would be that's a fun 9 weeks going to WrestleMania.
Absolutely. And then Jade makes her reappearance too, which would be fantastic. Love that too. So finally, Guilty Boy, we come to you. Women's Chamber, who are your 2 picks?
So Minnie and I are on the same page. It's going to be Alexa Bliss or Bayley. I see Naomi and Bianca Belair, focusing on Liv so much that they get distracted and get taken out by Roxanne, Bayley, and Alexa. And then I think it's going to come down to Alexa Bliss and Bayley. And the reason I say this is because Alexa just came back. They're kind of pushing her story along, trying to almost not necessarily fast track it, but they're giving her a presence. And so most likely it's either going to be Alexa Bliss or Bayley, who's a former champion, who's, if I remember correctly, she's won an Elimination Chamber before, or at least once. I keep forgetting if it's 1 or 2, but I think it's going to be one of the 2.
I dig it. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like I always say this, but I always end up enjoying the women's elimination chamber more than I do the men's every time we get to the chamber. But I'm actually looking forward to the men's. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So those are our picks for the women's chamber. So let's get into our second match, which is a tag team match, which sees Tiffany Stratton teaming up with Toronto legend herself, Canadian Trish Stratus, taking on the team of Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I'm going to be completely honest. This was probably the easiest one for me to pick. I am going with Tiffany and Trish because I feel that with Tiffany going to Mania to battle Charlotte, you can't really have her lose right now. I mean, you can, and it could be one hell of a story where Tiffany has to build up back her confidence, but like, you're also, Trish is in the hometown, and Trish is like, she has the new special graphic on her entrance where it's like 20 years of Trish Stratus. I was like, I don't foresee her losing in her hometown. So I'm going to go with Tiffany and Trish.
Same consensus. You can't have the champion lose, and you can't have the hometown hero, hometown legend losing her hometown. That makes no sense. And Candice LeRae, I feel like she's only in the match to take the pin.
Same.
We can't have another Montreal screw over. We can't. It is so important not to do that again. And with return, this is obvious. Honestly, I'm kind of over Nia, and I like to see more of all the other 3 ladies in this match. But Nia is like, okay, you're there, cool, great. You have a lot of work behind the scenes that you really need to do, and we'll get into this later.
Say that for years, brother.
Yeah, I'd be like, we'll save that for our podcast episode tonight. I hope that Nia moves on from Tiffany after this. Like, I want her to feud with somebody else now, but we're all on the same page. Tiffany and Trish are winning. Okay, so we don't need to spend too much time on this, but Rock is coming to Elimination Chamber. I would literally put this segment in the middle of the show so that way we can get it done and over with, so we can give the last 2 matches the time they deserve in my head. The Rock is coming to Elimination Chamber to hear Cody's answer. So this is a weird prediction question. Now, taking out of the maybes and the shenanigans that could go down, ultimately, what will Cody's answer be to the Rock's, proposal? I have selected, I went back and forth with this. I have selected no. I don't think Cody is going, as much as I want to see Homelander Cody, I don't think WWE has the confidence and the cojones to actually make Cody heel, despite him being so over with families and fans and children and all that. So I think WWE is going to play it safe, which sucks, but you know what? It is what it is. Cody's going to say no. Regardless of the shenanigans or everything, I don't think I think, and I hate this trope, but it is what it is. I think we're getting a repeat again of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bryan Danielson Bryan, of Rock putting every obstacle in Cody's way leading into Mania. So for 10 weeks, Cody has to overcome adversity. And I hate that trope, especially when it's a white babyface champion. I'm so tired of the white babyface having to come over adversity. It's some bullshit. Anyways, that's for another podcast. But there's no way WWE is having Cody join The Rock and be bad guy. Minnie, what do you think? Is Cody going to say yes or no?
I say he says yes, but because he might not feel confident enough to beat who's going to win the chamber. I feel like you're going to have Punk or Cena win the chamber. So there's my picks for that one. And Cody might be like, I don't know if I can beat either of them. They're the best. I might team with The Rock to get the edge. Because he might be starting to lose confidence after everything that's been happening with KO and everything else.
That sounds so shady, McMahon. It feels like that's something that would happen. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Minnie's like, that's it. Well, Professor, it's your turn. So what will Cody's answer be? Yes or no?
I hope it's yes, because I'd love to see heel turn Cody. I think I agree with you. No mas huevos. I don't think they could do it. So I think it's a no.
And then finally, Kilt, Cody's answer. Will it be yes or no?
It'll be no. Honestly, there's no. We've already written so many corners into this current run of WrestleMania with KO and with Sammy, with all these other people, and it's like putting him to turn heel now doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. Like it's not. No.
I feel like he turns heel and he beats the person he's supposed to face at Mania, and it becomes like not like a new Roman Reigns, but yeah, that's right. Fuck you guys. I was the man who beat John Cena in his last ever WrestleMania. He couldn't get the belt off me.
It would make sense to me if he tells The Rock no, and then we find out at WrestleMania it was a yes. It was a back deal, right? Like that's a hook.
If that's what happens, my answer will be a yes, and that will be a yes on my prediction things. I'm saying that now.
That's what's okay.
You heard it first here on Sunday, February 23rd. WrestleMania. Listen, when you come to watch WrestleMania with me at my house, Minnie, like we are going to. I'm gonna put that in.
If that's what happens, I'm standing up and I'm doing the DX suck it in everybody's faces
on live camera. That'd be hilarious. So
maybe not the faces, but I will be like.
This is very true.
Then I will shake Nostradamus' fucking hand because he predicted something crazy again.
Seriously, there are some crazy predictions out here. Alrighty, so let's get into what I would have semi-main event the show, which is our unsanctioned match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have gone back and forth because it can truly go either way. Kevin Owens, I feel like, should win because after losing to Cody in that ladder match at Rumble, I think Kevin needs to have a win. But again, Sammy is always the perpetual underdog. He is always, being put up against the wall and somehow manages to win. Hell, he shocked the hell out of us last year when he beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship with that brainbuster from the top, though, which was crazy to watch. Oh my goodness, this one's hard because Kevin, I feel like, needs to win. Sammy can afford a loss, but Sammy's always the underdog and he's going to win. But I'm going to give it to Kevin Owens for this one because I think we get something at Mania between these two. And then Sammy wins at Mania. But I'm going with Kevin Owens winning at Elimination Chamber here.
So for me, I thought this match is going to go in one of two ways. So one way is neither of them win. It's a draw. They beat the shit out of each other so much that they can't continue the match.
It is unsanctioned.
It's unsanctioned, so it's...
The other one is Sami Zayn wins due to Randy Orton's return. I feel like this will be the spot where he comes back.
That is very true. Professor, who do you have?
I think we throw Kevin Owens into a meat grinder and feed him to a chihuahua. I think Sami Zayn. I think Sami wins this only because if Kevin loses, we can keep this. It's everyone else's fault but my own thing going, and it seems like that's where they want to go. They got the momentum for that. It's totally possible we have a wild Randy Orton appear. I think it's possible there's something else crazy that happens because we're also in Toronto, and who knows what Canadian folklore and fables show up. A Wendigo appears. I don't know. Something weird happens with this match.
Cope makes an appearance. What?
Out of nowhere, the Brood shows up. I think there's going to be something to this because the two of them are going to show out. It's Canada. They want to make it look good. Every time they go home, they do something remarkable, the two of them. So I'm sure they got some crazy stuff planned. This has a potential to be gross. I know it's Netflix. I know they're trying to go Disney, but this has potential to be nuts. I just hope they don't get hurt.
Yeah,
that's my only thing. But I think it's Sammy. I think Sammy takes this one.
Yeah, we don't need people getting hurt right before Mania. So well, I forgot what Mania was like 3 or 4 years ago, where everybody kept getting hurt and we had to keep changing the match card. It was so bad.
That was 21, wasn't it? Where
I think
folks
so.
got hurt and COVIDs and airplanes and all hell broke loose.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right, Kilt, we come to you. Unsanctioned match. Who walks out the winner?
I think, I'm going to mimic Minnie on this one because I do think it's going to either be a draw with probably an RKO out of nowhere, but there's also a situation where I think this might be the last we see of these two for the next year. Like they take an extended hiatus and just take time off to relax. I don't know what their contract is looking like. I just know that in my mind this is gonna be constant rehash until they both retire, or they do something like a tag run again and become tag champions again, or what have you. But I got Sammy on this one because the way that they're writing this with Kevin's delusions and basically going after people for no reason, I think Sammy would be vindicated for this, and I think that's where we go.
Hey, I can't be upset at that. So, like I said when we were talking about Raw, when this match was set up during the Raw segment of the show, I just want WWE to let Sammy and Kevin do their thing. Like, let them go ham and just let them. If you're not going to make them bleed, at least make them be like, oh my gosh, I think someone broke a back, broke an arm, broke a pinky finger. Like, I want to see violence, which is crazy to say, but it is what it is. But I'm just saying, let these two go at it because another company also has two friends who are about to probably kill each other in a steel cage in another promotion for their pay-per-view the week after. So get it together, WWE, because I want violence in everything that I see. So finally, what I'm pretty sure is main eventing the pay-per-view. It's going to be the men's elimination chamber. So we have our participants. Again, for those of you here and watching at home, the winner of the men's chamber will go on to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. So we have Damian Priest, the viral sensation Logan Paul, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, the on his farewell tour, John Cena, and the greatest in the world, CM Punk. This was easier to pick. My two is either, I'm gonna be honest, as much as I would love to see a shock in Drew or Damian or even Seth, I eliminated Logan Paul immediately because I'm like, I swear to God, if somehow WWE is like, you know what, let him win this match, I'll be like, I'm not watching WWE until after meeting. Like, we're done. It's a wrap. No. But my two picks, this was easy for me. It's either going to be Cena or Punk. Like, to me, those are the two viable options here. I would love to, my third pick would be a Seth, but I have Cena or Punk going on to Mania. Like, we shall see what happens with all of that. But that is my picks. Minnie, which two do you have as your predictions for the men's chamber?
I said Logan Paul and Logan Paul. No, I'm just kidding. It was, I said it earlier, it was Punk and Cena. I mean, Punk, I think, is going to take it because they need to give him his WrestleMania main event spot, which was supposed to happen earlier, but he tore his triceps. So I feel like he gets his spot finally this year. I don't think they're going to wait another year. I feel like Cena somehow gets in his way into this match. So I feel like it's probably be a triple threat for Cody's belt, I think, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was just Cena or just Punk. I hope somebody throws Logan through the cage, not the plastic portions that the chambers are in, like through the actual
chain portions,
like Bobby Lashley versus Umaga in a Hell in a Cell.
Oh, bro, that was insane when that happened. I want Logan Paul to get the Austin Theory spot where everyone just beats him up in the pod. They throw him in and then they just start beating him up.
Seth and Johnny Gargano did it to him. Yes. That was hilarious. Now, I feel like Logan Paul's going to do some insane high flying from the top of a chamber, top of the cage spot. I feel like that's why he's there. Because, I mean, he is like half the age of everybody else in that match. Even like Seth could do it, but his knees probably won't let him. And Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre are just too big. So I think like Logan's there just for like the insane, oh my God spot. And then he's probably going to get.
Yeah. Hey, don't count Damian out because last year he climbed up that cage and then he just dropped on people like Spider-Man.
You're right. But also look who's also in the one person that could probably take that spot and be relatively okay would be Drew McIntyre.
That's true.
I feel like
we had Bronson last year.
I feel like Logan Paul's just going to do like the big spot, like the big high flying spot, and then everybody's going to hit him with all their finisher moves, and then Seth is going to put 2 feet in the back of his head like it did the Roman Reigns.
Oof. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, you know what? I agree with your points there. Professor, who you got for your 2 picks for the men's chamber?
I'll do this in a different order. And I will try to make this articulate. I don't think it's Damian Priest. I think they have other plans for him. I think they're going to shift him around. I think he's there because he's great in the chamber and you can do a lot of great stuff with him. I don't think it's Drew. I think they want to keep the Drew crying. What did he say? Drew crying tire? Well, I can't even remember it now, but it was such a good line. McIntyre. I think they keep the Drew McIntyre thing going for a little bit while longer. I don't think it's Seth Rollins. I think they have another idea for Seth Rollins, which leaves me to those 3. I said this 2 weeks ago, and I still think it's going to be not John Cena because John Cena's doing this thing where it's sort of, I'm going to try again and I'm going to lose. I'm going to try again and I'm going to lose. And he's going to keep on trying. That's going to be his big message is never give up, even though all the odds are always against him. It's CM Punk or Logan Paul. And we're going to hate them for the Logan Paul one.
Oh my God.
They're going to bring all the heat. If Cody says no to The Rock and we get Cody Logan Paul, the heat of the world falls on Logan Paul. And they've been dying for it and they've wanted it. And that would be the huge thing. If Cody says yes, then it's CM Punk. And we get the CM Punk versus heel Cody at a WrestleMania. Which is now because now you have anti-establishment CM Punk against someone who's just been turned by a billionaire.
Cody Lander.
So that's what I think, only because I get my hopes up all the time. And I've been vocal.
I can see it because CM Punk does look like Billy the Butcher a little bit.
I think that would be huge all the way around. I think Cody Logan Paul would be an okay match. It would be more of the story going to it. I think Cody CM Punk would be huge because they, know each other and have worked together in the past and things like that. So I think that's a big storyline. And then you have something else for John Cena to do. You go, okay, I got one more shot. I got my Survivor Series. I got to get something going, and we can build that up a little bit longer. Because they don't want to make it easy for John Cena either, right? They don't want the whole John Cena came back and got a title shot and got the thing. They want to make him pay some sort of the illusion of paying dues type of thing, right? But I think it's Logan Paul winning the Chamber, and we burn the fucker down.
That's amazing. And finally, Kilt, who are your two picks for the men's chamber?
So I actually had to flip a coin for my second pick, because the obvious pick is going to be John Cena, just because they want to push this, they want to do this. But the thing I thought was going to be a thing was Cena was going to be present throughout the road to WrestleMania since the Rumble, not just in Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and then somewhere in the middle.
He was filming another movie. It's the reason why he's not there.
So in other words, it's going to be Cena because they're going to give the movie star what he wants, or it's going to be. I chose CM Punk after the coin flip. It kind of makes sense, especially if they do the heel turn for Cody, and he goes to the establishment, and he does go to that. I wanted Damian Priest, just because I love Damian Priest. I think he's a great wrestler, and I actually love everything about him. Seth Rollins, no thank you. You can nicey title or something else. You want to be Ric Flair. Anyway, and then that's how I feel. I'm sorry. And then obviously Logan Paul's. I don't want Logan Paul to do anything. I don't like him, his personality. I don't like his wrestling style for the most part. I just don't like him in a championship match, because he overtakes his ego is what it does. It makes he wants to, obviously that's what he is. He's the ego of this. It's not necessarily a heel, but not necessarily a baby. He's just the ego. I think that should be a new third term of wrestler. It's the ego wrestler, where they just think they're better than everybody else. It's not bad, they're not heel, but they're just ego. And Drew, he's just a little bitch. Move on.
We love to see it. You're muted, Professor.
No, I'm just nodding in agreement. Like, nice. Yeah, no, I think that's all fun. I am not a Logan Paul fan at all. I hate him as a person. I've hated him for a long time. I've expressed that. But I cannot deny the athleticism and what he brings to some of these matches that I end up watching and going, oh my God, that just happened. What? I think Moneyball wise, that would be a ridiculous payday, especially if it's, going into WrestleMania, and they love them, their YouTube stars, and they love themselves these social media viral moment things. And this would potentially be one of the biggest, if not the biggest ever. Ugh. So yeah, no, but I absolutely agree. I do think it's CM Punk or Logan Paul.
That's very fair. And with that, I'm just got to finish up and then hit the submit button. So make sure you hit submit with your picks, so that way we can have it recorded. I like how we did these live and filled out the forms live. So it makes it easier. All righty. But that does bring us to the end of our Elimination Chamber, predictions. And thus, that brings us to the end of Dual Dynasty this week. So as you mentioned before, to kind of give you a preview of everything coming up this week, Tuesday, I'm not sure if we're 50-50 if there is going to be an AEW review. So more information on that on Monday. Wednesday, we have NXT and CMLL. On Thursday, actually, Andrew and I, and anybody else who wants to join us, we will be covering the first ever Progress Wrestling review. So British Wrestling on VC WrestlePod. I'm so excited to do that pay-per-view with Andrew and anybody else who wants to be a part of that. For Progress, My Own Destiny review on Thursday. Friday, we have our TNA review. As I mentioned before, Saturday on Peacock at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern is the Elimination Chamber, pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it. We will not be doing a watch along, but make sure to tune in 2 days later on Monday, March 3rd, as we will be covering the pay-per-view live. And just to let y'all know, it's about to get crowded because there are 5 of us on the WWE pay-per-view review team. So we're going to have a lot to say. It's going to be so fantastic. But that's going to be it for us at Dual Dynasty. From all of us here and the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We shall see you later in the week for all kinds of fun at times, but until then, sayonara, adios. And, even though Minnie is currently not here, I think we're gonna let some other stars play us out. So MXM Collection, take it away.
Let's get out of here. Johnny TV style. Sebastian! You're in the shot, you bald idiot! You fool! The other way! Go! Go!